So this has been something I've been wanting to do for a while now. This has always kind of been in the back of my mind. For the most part in this channel, I watch a lot of historical YouTubers, Kings and Generals, Epic History, History March, etc. And I usually stick to that. But about a year ago, I released a movie reaction to a film called, you may have heard of it, called Waterloo, from the 1970s. And it was my first ever non-YouTuber reaction. And it's actually one of my more popular videos. I think like top 2 or 3, and it did really well. And despite, but it did get blocked on a lot of countries. So if you haven't seen it or never saw it, probably it may have been blocked in your area. But for the most part, that didn't stop. Despite that copyright status, it still became one of my more popular videos. And then afterwards, I kind of did a reaction to the Napoleon 2002 series, all 4 episodes, by that was produced by the French, I believe. And then fast forward a while ago, I did a movie reaction to Vlad Tepes, another film from the 70s. And so after that, I kind of have this ambition to get back to do more of these historical movie related things, and War and Peace was always a part of the plan. And I've decided now to pull the trigger, as it were, and to finally do it. And I guess this, as far as I can tell, I'll be the first YouTuber to at least release a reaction to this film. So I guess I'll be making history for once, at least in that regard. We talk a lot about history, but little did I know I might at least try to make some. But probably there might have been someone else, I don't know. Let me live in my delusion that I'll be the first, even if I'm wrong, please. Yeah, this film's unique in that, like I said, I stick to history on this channel, I watch historical content for the most part. And this is unique in that it's fictional, but it's also set in a historical setting. Like, a lot of the characters that we follow, wait, for I should give some background. This film is based on a novel by Leo Tolstoy, and War and Peace is a chunker of a novel. It is renowned for being very long, but it's considered one of the greatest novels of all time. And, it's a Russian novel. And it's set during the time of the Napoleonic Wars, and we follow, mainly in the confines of Russia and how Russia is kind of doing in this time, and we follow fictional characters. And overall, I can't say that I've read the entire novel. I've read excerpts of the novel, like mainly it's telling of the battle of like Austerlitz and whatnot, but I know that there's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's fictional, but it follows historical beats, like from the War of the Third Coalition all the way until Napoleon's doomed invasion of Russia and his retreat. So that's kind of like the area, and it's really like kind of gives insight into what's going on with Russia and how things are going around there, as even like some of the fictional characters that Tolstoy created interacting with real historical people like Napoleon and etc. So it's a unique thing. I guess it's close enough to where I'll feel safe watching it on this channel. You know what I mean? And there have been adaptations of this novel. I think the most recent is like from the I think it was from the British broadcasting channel or something. I forgot what it's the official name, but I think it's from 2016 is one of the more recent versions of the telling. And there's actually there's actually one that precedes this adaptation from the 1950s, and I think Audrey Hepburn is pretty pivotal in that one, if I'm remembering correctly. She plays Natasha, I believe, but then like, you know, this I believe that caused the Russians to basically create their own adaptation, and this, the War and Peace of the 1960s, is the Russian telling, and I guess by default probably the most I guess ambitious and definitely most scaled of all the adaptations. And if I'm correct, I think that this one was actually directed by the same man who directed Waterloo. So, let's see. Yes, Sergei Bondarchuk? Probably mispronounced that, but he directed Waterloo, so we're not completely ignorant of his work. And, well, he directed this, so I suppose that overall, we're in for quite the epic film. Now, this film is like 2 hours, 26 minutes long, and my yapping's gonna make this longer. Granted, when I release this on YouTube, it'll be severely cut down and edited, because I need to in order to get, like, movie reactions on here, but, I'm gonna be here for quite a while, so let's get to it, shall we? Let's watch War and Peace Part 1. Yeah.
Voulez-vous pas passer à l'autre table, Monsieur Pierre?
Oui, Napoléon est grand.
Нет, Наполеон велик. Революция была великая.
Une grande œuvre.
Вы собираетесь на войну, князь? Генералу Кутузову угодно меня к себе в адъютанты.
Yeah, so I think this is supposed to be Prince Andrei? I could be mispronouncing that. If you're new to this channel, I mispronounce a lot of things. If it bugs you, you probably should leave, because you're gonna hate me. Yeah, this is like, he already name-dropping General Kutuzov, who is a person who I really admire in the Napoleonic era. And, yeah, this is kind of the, I guess, the calm before the storm of the War of the Third Coalition, where, you know, which Russia was heavily involved in. Granted, they were also involved in the second, you know, but onward, but, yeah.
Теперь война против Наполеона. Если бы это была война за свободу, я бы понял, я бы первый поступил в военную службу, но помогать Англии, Австрии против величайшего человека в мире.
Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, so war is broken out, and obviously Russia's getting involved with the War of the Third Coalition. And it's been a while since I remember why they got involved. I remember a big factor, Tsar Alexander kind of wanting glory and whatnot. But also there is things like, it is natural in Europe for when one power becomes too great. Usually everyone jumps them to jump and kind of curb a growing power, especially since the French were becoming way too powerful. But yeah, this character is Pierre, who, like I said, I haven't read the novel except the excerpts of like the Battle of Austerlitz, but I do know Pierre is a pivotal character. So yeah, and I think what's interesting is that he's already established to be quite the Bonapartist, a big fanboy of Napoleon, just like me, for real, and talking about how great he is, and kind of being opposed to Russia's entry in the war.
Ну, для чего вы идете на войну? Для чего?
That's interesting. So they're having this discussion about, like, the nature of war, you know, saying that if it was just for beliefs alone, there would be no war or whatever. And again, I think, obviously, with the novel War and Peace, I'd imagine the idea of war and the nature of it is probably going to be a huge theme, right? And why people fight and etc.
Я давно хотела сказать тебе, Андрей. За что ты ко мне так переменился? Что я тебе сделала? Ты едешь в армию, ты меня не жалеешь. За что?
Блин.
О себе думай.
Лиз!
Yeah, that's a really unhappy marriage. Already off the bat.
Никогда не женись, мой друг, вот тебе мой совет. Не женись до тех пор, пока ты не скажешь себе, что ты сделал все, что мог. До тех пор, пока ты не перестанешь любить ту женщину, которую ты выбрал.
Dang. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm following that advice exactly. Like, I won't get married until I've accomplished all that I can. But yeah, that's the thing about Andre I find interesting. He at least his portrayal, he's very unhappy with his status. He's going off to war, and I don't think even he fully understands why. But he just kind of wants to escape at least the world that he inhabits in a sense, because he seems beyond miserable. Just establish that him and his wife are on the best terms, or at least he seems to like not like her. And you know, I guess like we opened up with the party there at St. Petersburg, you know, with all these high class, you know, Russian socialites, nobility, and he didn't seem happy with that, so I think there's definitely something more. And I'm getting regret from this feeling, because he says don't marry until you've accomplished all, and maybe he feels like he hasn't accomplished too much or all that he could, and maybe, I guess in war, might want to seek some type of glory or remembrance, you know, because that's kind of like a big idea with war, right? You win glory, you know, you think of all the great leaders, like, oh man, they won glory on the battlefield, war can be glorious. You know, that's kind of like what I say is, it's true in some respect in that we do look at these figures like, yeah, that they were glorious, Napoleon was great, and, you know, it is just a fact, I think. But also there is that kind of myth, I think, with war, that rude awakening when you realize it's beyond ugly and it messes you up, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm just rambling now, but yeah, war is kind of like it's not something I think you come back fully the same from, you know?
Не увидеть Бонапарта и его карьера. Ты говоришь Бонапарт. Но Бонапарт, когда он работал, шаг за шагом шел к своей цели. Он был свободен. У него ничего не было, кроме его цели, и он достиг ее. А тут гостиные, сплетни, балы, тщеславие, ничтожество. Вот заколдованный круг, из которого я не могу выйти.
Okay, so that's cool. It's established that Pierre is a big Napoleon fanboy, thinking he's great, and now Andre seems to kind of admire Napoleon too. He's like, look at how great Napoleon is. He accomplished all that he could, you know? Meanwhile, here I am with all this, with all the frivolousness of, like, these parties and whatnot. So I think, from what I'm getting, Andre definitely wants to accomplish more in life, and I guess Napoleon's kind of a big inspiration, right? Because, like, like, Napoleon was kind of started from not the best place in society, though I heard he was, like, at very least minor nobility, his family, but he still, you know, for the most part, had pretty humble beginnings, at least compared to what he became, you know? So there is a lot to admire, and that's interesting that Andre has that view, because I kind of have the same view in Napoleon too. Like, there's a certain type of admiration I have towards the man in terms of just how he seized the world and made himself great. And I think, I mean, I can't speak for all men, obviously, but I think there is, among a lot of people, a desire to make a name for yourself, and to be great, and to do great things, and, you know, I think Napoleon is probably such a great example of someone doing that, and even me, like, You know, I do have a desire to accomplish a lot, and you know, I guess this YouTube channel is kind of a thing I want to like you know, accomplish things and, you know, kind of make a name for myself and do things, you know. And I guess even though we've stopped following Napoleon with like epic history and whatnot, it did leave a lasting impression on me. I think like, yeah, you know, kind of a desire to accomplish things and to be great in a sense is something that Napoleon I could relate to, and I think that's why I've remained such a big fan of Napoleon and admirer, you know. I didn't expect to resonate so far. Only 15 minutes in the film, I'm already like resonating in certain parts.
Давай говорить о тебе.
Обо мне что говорить? Что я такое? Незаконный сын. Без имени, без состояния.
Oh wow. So Pierre's an illegitimate son? That's interesting.
Особенно потому, что ты...
As a fellow bastard myself, I like that. You know. Yeah, I'm not sure how bastards were seen in Europe around this time, but yeah. So I think this is supposed to be Natasha.
Это нас нелегкое несет воевать с Бонапартом. Он уже сбил спесь с Австрией. Боюсь, не пришел бы теперь наш черед.
Austria still catching L's, man. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Like, hey, why should we fight Napoleon? Like, it's Austria's thing, you know? Oh man, that's hilarious. Poor Austria, man. The entire Napoleonic Wars was just Austria getting beat up by Napoleon.
Наконец, дело в том, ты сама знаешь, что граф написал завещание, по которому все имение, помимо прямых наследников, отдавал Пьеру. Мало ли. Он просит признать сына законным. Стало быть, Пьер уже будет не Пьер, а граф Безухов. И тогда он по завещанию получит все.
Мама велела вас просить танцевать.
Okay, that's an interesting subplot of wanting I guess, like, yeah, they established Pierre's dad is, like, ill, and apparently enough to want to at least ask, or at least there's rumors of him asking the emperor to legitimize him. So, that's interesting. So far, these people seem higher class, the characters we're following, in terms of their social standing and status, which I think is adding to the commentary of, like Russian high-class society of this time, which seems a lot heavily involved with, like, I suppose as Andre would put it, frivolousness and, you know, partying and balls and etc. Meanwhile, on the other side, there's this growing threat of war looming on the horizon against Napoleon, and you have the old hussars and everyone kind of getting ready to fight in the War of the Third Coalition. So that was, I guess, the man who just died was Pierre's, I'm assuming, father? Yes, Count Krill. Not pronouncing that right, but yeah. And apparently the Count wanted Pierre to inherit, so I don't know, depending if that works, Pierre might just become the new Count.
Шеф, князь Николай Андреевич Балконский. По прозванию в обществе прусский король. С того времени, как при Павле был сослан в деревню.
Okay, so he's Andre's father. Alright, I'm just trying to get used to all the characters so far, and remembering them and their names.
За что вы меня благодарите?
За то, что не просрочиваешь, за бабью юбку не держишься. Служба прежде всего. Спасибо, спасибо.
So yeah, part 1 is called, is about Andre. It's titled, subtitled. So it's interesting we got his perspective. Now we're getting a closer look into his family life. His father, Nikolai, kind of being a very harsh man, you know, harsh, strict, very military. He gives off, like, you know, obviously military dad vibes, that you often hear about with people who've had to live under that. And, even now as Andre goes off to fight in a war, still very rigid and, you know, not all too affectionate.
Князь Андрей, коли тебя убьют, мне, старику, больно будет.
Wow. Yeah, you know, it kind of reads, like I said, he wasn't overly affectionate, but at that moment it was really nice. I don't know, it's kind of like when you hear about, like, older men, like, you know, not being allowed to fully cry, having to be very strong and stoic, kind of, like, gives me that kind of vibe, you know, but ultimately does care. I don't know, that was nice. That was nice.
Единицы союзной армии австрийского генерала Макка для совместных действий против Наполеона.
Alright, that's cool. So we have finally, all that was kind of the setup, kind of the main characters, I feel, the first 53 minutes, as we're introduced to Pierre, Andre, and, you know, their lives and their families and what's going on with them. And now it seems like we're gonna transition more, now that we've gotten used to these characters, now into the war of the Third Coalition. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the battles, you know? Like I said, we've watched Waterloo, so, like, I know that this director is just goated with making Napoleon battles, so Napoleonic battles, so I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more.
Ежели
No
бы
news
правда,
from
что Мак
Mac.
разбит и союзная нам армия уничтожена, так пришло бы известие.
Вероятно.
Yeah, so they're talking about Austrian General Mack, who we know, yeah, Austrian General Mack is, you know, most famous for straight up getting jumped by Napoleon. Yeah, he ventured too far, and Napoleon, through a great force march, essentially surrounds Austrian General Mack and just captures him and his entire army. Like, it's one of my favorite. The Ulm situation in the Third Coalition War is one of my favorites, because it just kind of demonstrates, like, Napoleon at his peak, I think. Like, where he could just do seemingly no wrong. You know? And it's just, off the bat, crippling the Austrians, preventing them from meeting up with the Russians. It was really just, like, it's one of the best moments. It's one of my favorite Napoleon moments. You know? Okay, that's Kurtusov. I have to say, the actors are all doing really good so far, and, like, the historical figures like Kurtusov actually just straight up look like his portrait. So, like, the casting's just great.
Вы видите несчастного Макка.
Holy crap. Okay, that was Austrian. I was like, I thought this was like a random soldier, but no, this is Austrian General Mack himself telling Kurtusov. Oh, wow.
Имею честь поздравить, генерал Мак приехал. Совсем здоров, только немного тут зашибся.
Just poking fun at the Austrians. Oh man. But yeah, they're kind of making fun of the Austrians for straight up getting jumped, or like General Mack, who is like I said, infamous for like Napoleon wrecking him. Well, that's like off the bat, like just completely intercepted the Russian and Austrian meeting up with that and just straight up, like, again, I just love Napoleon finds out this coalition is happening and he just marches, holds butt all the way and just captures an army off the bat. Like, yeah, it's just one of the coolest moments, I think, and just one of the best Napoleon moments, you know? I like all the extras that you're seeing. Again, like I said, this is before the time of CGI, and I have like a great admiration for older movies, especially in scenes like battles, because you just know they assembled so many extras to just be there. And it's just so cool to see that you got this many people to just come, because look at this, like, this is just straight up looks like an army. Like, I feel really immersed in what's happening, because this feels like I'm like witnessing something, you know? It really is just cool, I think.
Не братьями, а орудиями и необходимыми жертвами смерти.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like the like these little monologues of narration and stuff. Like, it's really like existential in a sense, like this theme of everyone dies, you know, death is kind of this theme, which makes sense because it is a big part of war. And like I said, I guess existentialism is, I think, the word I'd use, of just like, you know, yeah, the idea of death and people just being used for this war, and I don't know, like, it's a unique theme that I have, and I think a lot of good war movies kind of cover that, like almost like the loss of human life and like what is it all for at the end? Why are we fighting? You know, like that theme came up in the very beginning of the film. Like, I don't know. I just think it's been a unique idea that has been interwoven, you know, as a theme in this film. Oh, whoa.
Началось. Вот оно.
Holy crap, the battle's begun. Oh my gosh, I'm hyped. Not gonna lie, I'm just hyped right now. Dang, look at that. Just the chaos. Oh my goodness.
Французы. Славно идут.
Le Grand Armée! Heck yeah. Heck yeah, this is peak. This is yeah, when people talk about peak or cinema, I think this is it. Like, this is amazing. Yeah, just the thought of having people getting blown up next to you and you just having to march past that is insane. Like nerves of steel, right? Dude, just look at all those guys. Like, this just looks like a real... Oh my goodness. Holy crap, yeah, that looks just so cool. Look at, like, as the French advance. Look at all those dudes! Like, this dude assembled his own army to film this. Like, holy crap. Like I said, the shots just look amazing in this film. Like, what's it called? Like, I'm not a movie guy, but, like, cinematography or something like that. Like, kind of like where things just look or shot incredibly well. Like, some of these things look like paintings, like, I have to say. Like, it's really directed just incredibly well. Okay, that looks awesome. Like, look, the horses in the background as the guys march. Like, I'm telling you, this looks really epic. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, like I've said, some of these shots straight up look like out of paintings. Like, they're just shot so well. Very just cinematic. I don't know how else to put it, you know? Yeah, like I said, it's just cool to see the artillery being used, and this is Jerome, I think, is his character's name, if I remember correctly. Been unhorsed, essentially.
Вот и люди. Они мне помогут. Что это за люди?
Oh no, those are the French. Oh no, get out.
Меня, кого так любят все.
Threw his pistol at him just by. Yeah, this is the first battle scene of the movie, and like it's shot so great. Again, the director Sergei, like I said, we've seen Waterloo. We know that he can bring it, and the man is just goated. He might just be the king of Napoleonic films. Just like it's just artistic. The way he shoots battle scenes, like, comes across, like, I keep saying paintings, but it's true, though. Like, it looks like it could be art. Like, living art, you know? I don't know how else to put it, but this man just, the way he films battles is just amazing.
Вы довольны нынешним вечером?
Нынешние именины были для меня одними из самых приятных.
He's almost as awkward as I am. This is so awkward. I don't know what to say. But so relatable, just like me, man.
Снимите эти. Как эти?
Oh my goodness. This dude was so awkward, yet he still bagged. Man, Pierre, good on you, bro. When I'm awkward, I just drive everyone away. Oh man, life is unfair. Oh, that's cool. We're gonna see the Battle of Austerlitz in live action. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy.
Наполеон перейдет в наступление.
Это не предвидится.
He's asleep during the battle plans.
Ларионович, что вы думаете о завтрашнем сражении?
Я думаю, что сражение будет проиграно.
You know, I think in real life, Kutuzov actually didn't want to fight Napoleon. Kutuzov often was pretty cautious, especially when facing Napoleon, and rightfully so. Because, like, you know, Napoleon, one of the greatest generals of all time, isn't someone you want to, like, rush, but I think Kutuzov was pressured at some points to have to face Napoleon, though he didn't want to.
Хочу славы. Хочу быть известным людям. Хочу быть любимым ими.
Okay, that's a cool insight into Andrei's character. You know, he started off the movie hating the life of St. Petersburg, viewing all the balls and the parties and the gossip kind of as like frivolous, I think. And then he's like, I'm not sure why I'm going to war when asked by Pierre. And now we're getting some more insight into him. Like, doesn't seem to be happy with life and wants more. And here, he's talking about glory and wanting it. And I think that's kind of like a cool perspective. And another part of war, you know, there's the ugly truth, I think. I think before battles are fought, like, the idea of war is really noble, really glorious, kind of like, you know, you can win glory here, immortal fame, you know, like all the greats did. And then you might see the more sobering side of it once you finally get there. I think the aftermath is when you become disillusioned. Like, this is just ugly, like, you know, witnessing battlefields and killings, and it loses, I think, loses its glory and luster once you see the truth for what war actually is, just, you know, a waste of life, you know? I don't know, I've never fought in a war personally, but, you know, I'd imagine that's how it'd be like, right?
Ведь я не виноват, что я хочу этого, что одного этого я хочу, для одного этого я живу. Да, для одного этого.
Is that Napoleon, my boy? Heck yeah, the Emperor has arrived. And I find it interesting that as he's giving this monologue about wanting glory and to triumph, it shows Napoleon side by side with Andre as Napoleon is riding, being cheered on by his men, you know? And Andre, earlier in the film, was talking about how he admired how Napoleon accomplished all that he set out to do. And I think Napoleon's kind of like, in a way, a hero to, you know, Andre. It isn't that, like, you know, maybe like a parallel of what Andre wants to be like Napoleon, someone who accomplished greatness, and just did great, you know? At least that's kind of the symbolic thing I get from that cut. I'm not sure, but, you know. Dude, that's so cool. Just look at Napoleon on his white horse. Like, look at these shots, man. They just look so amazing. And I like they're not really showing Napoleon's face. Like, you're just kind of seeing, like, him on his horse, almost, like, larger than life, you know? Just looks so cool. Again, the scale. This movie is very epic. Just the scale of the people that they've amassed. The shots. Like, this... When you think of the word epic, I think this movie should come to mind. And it's amazing how this movie ain't really talked about, at least here in the West. Like, I can't speak for the entire world, but this is a movie that never really comes up. And I'm literally watching it for free on YouTube. It's just out here, and that's, like, shocking to me, you know? Because just look at it. And this is only the first part, by the way. There are 3 more after this. Like, I know that the Battle of Borodino is gonna come up, so, like, I can only imagine that if I'm already blown away by this, I'm gonna lose my mind. My mind's literally gonna melt when we finally get to Borodino. You know? Oh, is that Tsar Alexander? Oh. Oh my gosh, that is Tsar Alexander, holy crap. Okay, that's cool, and I'm guessing this guy next to him must be Emperor, Francis, you know. That's cool. Yeah, so the Battle of Austerlitz, it's also called the Battle of the Three Emperors. But I've heard, like, Francis wasn't actually there, though. I think Alexander was, but I don't think Francis was. I think that was just more, Napoleon, maybe, I'd heard that Napoleon may have capitalized on the title of the Battle of the Three Emperors to make it sound more grand. I'm not sure, I'm not putting that as proof, that's just, I think I've heard that. I'm not sure how accurate those things I've heard are, though. I would have to look more into it, but, you know, that's cool. I didn't expect to see Alexander actually show up, because he's been mentioned, but now he's here.
Поджидаю, Ваше Величество. Не все колонны еще собрались, Ваше Величество.
Ведь мы не на Царицыном лугу, Михаил Ларионович, где не начинают парада, пока не придут все полки.
Потому и не начинаю, государь, что мы не на параде и не на Царицыном лугу.
Oh, holy crap.
Впрочем, если прикажете, Ваше Величество.
My goodness. Yo, look at that death glare you just gave Kurtusov. Holy crap. You know, I had heard that, like, in the Battle of Austerlitz, like, Tsar Alexander was kind of making decisions against his advisors, like, caution. You know, they were like, we probably shouldn't do this, but Tsar Alexander, he's a young man at this point. I think only 27 when he became Tsar, so he's a young man, you know, youthful and seeking glory, and battling Napoleon, you know, is a key to that, right? Stopping the rise of Napoleon. So he took control in a sense, and ultimately his decisions did not help his side, because we know how the Battle of Austerlitz goes, with the Russians and the Austrians losing to Napoleon in his greatest battle of all time, you know? Dude, this looks so cool. Napoleon looks really grand here. Okay, that's cool. I kinda like... Napoleon just looks like... I don't know how to put it, just larger than life. Like, as he's on his horse, you're not really getting a close-up of seeing his face. He's just like... You know, like, I don't know, just think so cool about it. Holy crap. Look, oh my gosh, look at the horses and the like, you know, when we were watching the Waterloo movie, and then, like, the freaking horses would be doing flips on their heads as they're falling, I'm like, did they train the horses to do that? I've never heard of, like, horses just... Man, I hope, yeah. Yo, it's hot, I've been here for hours, but, like 2 hours now recording, but, yeah, like, I hope the horses are alright. Like, freaking PETA in the corner just watching. But it still looks cool, but I'm like, holy crap. Holy crap! Oh my gosh. This is the best thing I've ever seen. Okay, Andre rallying the men now to go and just charge despite being driven back right now. Yo, did he get shot?
Да, все пустое, все обман, кроме этого бесконечного неба. Ничего, ничего нет, кроме его.
That was a interesting monologue. All is vanity, nothing but the sky. And then Tushin, Captain Tushin earlier was like, "There's no heaven, just the atmosphere." There's like a weird, like, I said earlier existentialism to this film, and it seems to continue, because even here, like, Andre, I thought he died, but I guess he's still kicking a little. He still seems to be alive, and he's just having this, like, nothing matters now. Like, I don't know, like, it's such a unique theme, I think. Oh my god.
Voilà une belle mort.
Вот прекрасно.
A glory. Dude, just... This is a straight up painting right here. Look at this shot. You got Napoleon here on his white horse. The sky. Cinema. No, this is just epic in every way. Holy crap. And I just love the way Napoleon has so far been portrayed. Like, you don't get a close-up of Napoleon. You either see, like, the back of him, or, like, if you do see the front, he's, like, at a distance, and he's always on his horse. Like, he's almost, like, not a human. Like, he is just, like, a force of nature. This larger-than-life person. Just, like, here. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but, like, it makes sense, considering that the War of the Third Coalition through the Fourth, I think, was peak Napoleon, where he just couldn't do no wrong, and he really was like a force of nature, I think. The way he just kept fighting and winning, like, just like, so, it's majestic. Like, Napoleon is like majestic in this movie. And just like, This is like a screensaver. This is like what I would make the background of my computer screen. Like, just everything. A glorious death. Wow. That's beautiful. These shots though, like the aerial shots, must have been using a helicopter or something. But like, these are amazing. This aerial view. Wow. He nailed the scale of this. Like, I think with like a Napoleonic film, you need it to be grand and epic, and I think just like the director got it. Like, he was like, I need to make this look as amazing as possible, and he accomplished that. Like, Ridley Scott, take notes. This is how you make a Napoleonic film.
Видите сквозь свои очки. Связь вашей жены с Дороховым есть тайна для одного вас.
Dang. So there's some cheating going on with... Wow. Dude, that sucks for Pierre. Literally got married, and now it's like sitting across the dude his wife is cheating on him with. Poor Pierre, man. What did the man do to deserve this? Oh, holy crap. Okay, Pierre, maybe a bit too far. Considering he's a soldier and you're not, I wouldn't be challenging him to a duel. Oh my gosh. But then again, you have to avenge yourself. This dude's like banging your wife. Yeah. I'm worried.
Вы мне скажите только, как куда ходить и стрелять куда. Что?
What?
Ах, да, вот так. Я знаю, я забыл только.
Oh my god, you don't even know how to use a gun. This is a bad idea. This is like straight up suicidal. Oh. Oh yeah, he got him. Dang. Holy crap, Pierre just caught his first body. Here I was, like, underestimating him, but to be fair, he had his, like, the gun out. The other guy didn't even raise his pistol until after he was shot. Dang. Yeah, Pierre just murdered someone, right? Yeah, Pierre caught his first body. And I guess the guilt is now setting in that he just killed someone. To be fair, that dude was like, you know, cheating. Your wife was cheating on you with him, so if anything, he avenged himself at least on that. At least if that is true, you know.
Моя мать. Мой ангел. Мой обожаемый ангел.
Don't make me feel bad for this man. Oh my gosh. Don't make me feel bad for him, dude.
К великому удивлению своему узнал, что Долохов, этот буян, бритер Долохов, жил в Москве с старушкой-матерью и горбатой сестрой, и был самый нежный сын и брат.
Oh my god, they're really gonna make me feel bad for this guy after he was like, oh my gosh.
Это еще что? Вы верите всему, что вам скажут? Вам сказали, что Долохов мой любовник. И поверите.
Is she gaslighting this guy? She's like, no, those are all rumors. I've never cheated on you. Like, yo, she better not be gaslighting my boy. Poor man.
Основание ревнуете.
My goodness.
Лучше вас во всех отношениях.
My goodness. This man's, like, wedded life sucks.
Которая с таким мужем, как вы, не взяла бы себе любовника.
Dude, she sucks. Poor Pierre. Oh man. He got married to like the worst kind of person. Oh. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Heck yeah, my boy Andre's back home and he's alive.
Его приезд не имел никакого отношения до ее страданий и облегчения их.
Wow.
Со мной сделал.
Did she just die?
Отчего вы не служите в армии?
После Аустерлица. Я это покорно благодарю. Если бы Бонапарт и стоял тут, у Смоленска, угрожая лысым гором, я бы и тогда не стал служить в русской армии.
Wow.
Слышали про дуэль?
Yeah, that's interesting to see just how different especially Andre is after everything. After I think witnessing the brutality, and as I put it earlier, the sobering reality of war, probably doesn't see it as glorious as before, because he was going off to find, like, I guess, some type of meaning, glory, triumph, and he came out just, like, broken, right? He's having that existential monologue after he was shot. It's like, yeah, probably not okay. Probably not, you know, the same after all that.
Чувствую в своей душе, что я составляю часть этого огромного гармонического целого. Я чувствую, что я не только не могу исчезнуть, как ничто не исчезает в мире, но что я всегда буду и всегда был.
Да, это учение Гердера. Но не то душа моя увидит меня.
Разве не то же самое?
Yeah, so Andre seems to have a more pessimistic, more recluse, like, viewpoint of the world after all the suffering he's witnessed and endured. You know, definitely, I think, changed and scarred in a sense, but probably not for the better. Though Pierre seems to still hold on to his, I guess, hopefulness.
Ни солнца, ни счастья. Не верю вашим надеждам и обманам.
Yeah, I think after the Battle of Austerlitz, Andre kind of had like that existential crisis, I think, where he's looking up at the sky and just sees all his vanity, and it seems like he's carrying that philosophy even now. Just like, he's existing, but doesn't seem to be living, in a sense. I think, what's the word I'm looking for? Traumatized, disillusioned. Overall, not okay, you know? Oh. You guys catch them glancing at each other? Like,
Да это тот самый дуб.
And now it's full of life. It's not barren anymore, that oak.
21 год. Мало того, что я знаю все то, что есть во мне. Надо, чтобы и все знали это. И Пьер, и эта девочка, которая хотела улететь в небо. Надо, чтобы все знали меня. Чтобы не для одного меня шла моя жизнь. Чтобы на всех она отражалась. Чтобы все они жили со мною вместе.
Wow. So like that oak tree was kind of symbolic when he first rode through it, and it had, you know, like it was completely barren of leaves and whatnot. That kind of reflected Andre's state of being kind of depressed, not pessimistic, kind of not seeing the value of life. But like Pierre's advice and hearing Natasha's like monologue about the moon, he seems to like be rejuvenated with a sense of life, and even now that's symbolic through the oak tree that's now full of life like he is. Symbolism. cinema. That was beautiful. I have 3 more parts to look. I don't want to give too much of my thoughts because I feel like this is a kind of film that I need to watch in its entirety. I feel there are 3 more parts. I'll give my overall thoughts. Just a quick little idea of what part 1 is. I loved it. That was one of the most epic things I've ever seen. And once again, the director Sergei has once again blown my mind. First with Waterloo and now this. I can't wait till we get to the Battle of Borodino. I just know that's gonna blow my mind. And just I was really invested with the characters of Pierre and Andre, and you know, kind of like I like the philosophical themes about life and death and what's all for. Like I said, it has a weird existential theme to it that I really like. I feel like all the best war movies kind of have that, like, you know? I don't know, it kind of ended on a really hopeful note, so I'm looking forward to seeing the rest.